So this is the G Force Hobby Genova, a newly released two-wheel drive assembly kit buggy from G Force. I'm not sure how familiar people outside Japan are with G Force brand. The company started around 2010, 11, 12, something like that. They predominantly make electronics, so batteries, servos, ESCs, brushless motors, but they also do things like tire warmers, goods, accessories, tools. They even do hop-ups, so most recently I've purchased some of their aluminium hop-ups for the Terra Scorcher and Thunder Dragon. So at least in Japan, I'm not sure about outside of Japan, but in Japan they're quite a well-known company. They also make small drones and helicopters. Well, this is their first assembly two-wheel drive RC buggy. There's been a lot of excitement for this buggy over in Japan. I think for a couple of reasons. One, it's not every day that a completely new buggy appears. By that I mean like from a new maker. They've never made one. They've never made a buggy before, so completely new to the market RC buggy car. So I think there's a lot of interest from that. But also just because this Genova the design has been overseen, supervised by Masami Hirosaka. So I'm assuming that everyone watching this is familiar with the name, but just in case you aren't, Masami Hirosaka is probably he is the greatest RC driver in the world. I think he won something like 14 if my world titles. Yeah, he's a really good driver and he's been in the hobby for a long time. Well, he supervised, oversaw the design of this. I'm not exactly sure how involved he is in all aspects of the buggy. I do know he used to work for Yokomo, but he left there a few years ago now, and now he works for G Force. So, but I think you can clearly see that he's had a hand in the body design, because I'm looking at this, and this is one of the reasons why I was really interested in the buggy, is just because I like the design aesthetics. You can clearly see this has got a vintage styling going to it. I don't know about anybody else, comment down below, but I see RC10, associated RC10 here, a little bit Tomahawk, possibly even some Top Cat, but the proportions and everything, very vintage style and very appealing for me. Interestingly, the name Genova, G Force like to use G prefix before most of their product names, and the name Genova basically means G, and then Nova is Latin for, in Japanese it translates to Atarashi, which means new, so it's basically new G, and I guess it's an appropriate name for a completely new buggy, a new product line by them. So anyway, the box, first thing that strikes you is just how small it is. It is tiny. What we're talking about, 35 centimeters long. It's about half the size of a frog box. Now, as time of recording this, the Genova is only available in Japan. Pretty much everything is Japanese only. There is a few bits and pieces of English here and there, but I suspect everything, including the instruction manual, is Japanese only. So what I'll do is I'll just briefly go through these pictures. The gearbox comes pre-assembled. Yeah, actually going back to the actual design of the buggy, this is kind of jumping around here. Price wise, this is a middle grade. This comes in about 25,000 yen, so it's about the same price over here as a Tamiya TD2 Super Astute. So it's not cheap, but it's not expensive either. So this uses a lot of high grade parts, but this is where it gets interesting. I was watching an interview with Hirosaka San. He was talking about the design concept for this buggy. They wanted this buggy to be something that a complete novice to the hobby could take home and build and get running, and so a lot of components come pre-assembled. As I understand it, the gearbox, the dampers, and the tires come pre-mounted, and I believe the turnbuckles as well, and the universals as well also come pre-assembled. So the idea there is that a person with absolutely no experience whatsoever could put this together in a couple of hours and go racing. So it's kind of a mid-tier buggy, but with an eye to complete novices. Anyway, yeah, the gearbox is all metal, includes a metal diff, uses 48 pitch gears and comes pre-assembled. Then we've got a gear cover that kind of reminds me of Optima Javelin, or maybe a DT02 gear cover. We've got universal shafts, I'm guessing they're pre-built. Turnbuckles all round. We've got slipper clutch as well, and then big bore dampers, which I believe they are aeration type, and then standard 2.2 inch wheels and tires. So that's it for the box. Let's have a look inside. What we got? Okay, right, first impressions. Kyosho wins on presentation, Tamiya comes second, and then a distant third is G Force. Everything's just thrown in the box, but never mind. For this price point, you would expect it to be a little more presented, but never mind. Okay, I'm just going to grab these in the order. I've never done an unboxing before, so please excuse me. I'm just winging it here. The body shell, the quality, I would say it's better than Tamiya. It certainly feels slightly thicker than Tamiya's bodies. I just love this design and shape. I think it looks really good. Wing. Let's see, it looks like everything's put into bags, so I'll just go through the bags. Bag A appears to be, we've got bearings, suspension pins, front bumper, turnbuckles come pre-assembled, suspension arms, then it looks like we've got shock stays, front uprights, wheel hubs, etc. Where are we next? Bag B. Bag B is the chassis and looks like battery mount, etc. Well, you can tell that the quality of the plastic is really high. This feels quite heavy and very rigid. You can tell this is very high quality plastics. What we got? Bag C. Bag C looks like we've got the rear shock stay, chassis brace, and wing mount. And bag D. Okay, we've got the pre-assembled gearbox, basically the rear suspension, rear dampers, suspension arms, etc. We've got a bag of 400 weight damper oil, and then bag E we've got the wheels and tires pre-mounted, but I don't think, yeah, not pre-glued, but pre-mounted. And then at the bottom we've got the instructions, decals, and a tool bag. Box wrench. God, I've got so many of these box wrenches. And suspension preload, clips, and a few other bits and pieces. So that's all you get in the box. So let's have a look at the instructions. Okay, the G Force Genova off-road racing buggy instruction manual. Unfortunately, don't be deceived by the English on the front cover. I'm pretty sure, yes, everything is Japanese only. Japanese companies like to do that. They like to put English on the cover, but then on the inside there's no English whatsoever. Well, given that a large proportion of this is pre-assembled and it's a two-wheel drive buggy, it shouldn't be that difficult to put together. Yeah, the instructions kind of remind me of Kyosho's. Yeah, so here, page 1, it's basically just telling you to undo the cap on the damper, insert the oil, and reassemble. So looking at the instructions, I don't think if you had no Japanese, you could still put this together because it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm guessing the hardware is drawn 1-to-1 scale, so you shouldn't have an issue with getting the correct size. And everything's put in, it looks like everything's put in bags similar to Kyosho, so I would imagine that everything you need is in this bag, so you don't have to. I've just come from a frog build where it's kind of like screw bag A, screw bag B, screw bag C, etc., and so you're always hunting around for parts. So what I'm trying to say is, if you were to get your hands on one of these, import from Japan, then even if you didn't understand Japanese, I don't think there would be that much difficulty in putting this together. Yeah, it looks to be pretty straightforward. Includes servo saver as well, and also has fittings for Sanwa high-tech lymphotolus receivers, servos. Setting up this bird here. Motor. Electronics rear gearbox. And then onto the body. At first glance the instructions don't seem to be as good as Tamiya's, but I think given that a large proportion of it is already pre-assembled, it should be pretty straightforward to put together. Slipper clutch adjustment, etc. Okay, so that's the G Force Hobby Genova. I'm going to crack on with this. Get it put together. That's all for this video, so stay tuned for, I'm not sure how I'll do a build video. If there's an interest I may do, but I'm kind of anxious to get onto this, so I'll catch you next one. My name is David, you've been watching SkyRC, and until next time.